What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Sharing Our Stories. My name is Slim with Nani Al Jaleel, representing for our folks at Tribe Recovery Homes. A big shout out to them. And if you are just joining us for the first time, welcome. This program is all about addiction and recovery. We bring in folks who have dealt with addiction, have dealt with a lot of things in life, and they come in to talk about their life thus far, how they found their recovery, where they are in their life, and just encourage and uplift us and let folks see that, yes, we do recover. This is what recovery looks like. And it's an amazing thing. And not everybody's story is exactly the same. You'll hear similarities between your story maybe and others, or between people you might have heard here before. But truly believe that while no two stories are exactly the same, which is they might have similarities, every single one is so important and has so much impact. So we thank you for joining us. Nani here with me. Always great to see you. And Nani also has previously worked with Tribe Recovery Homes, and we've been teaming up with them again to help people just have a path to recovery, to have a place where you can call. So tell folks a little bit about what Tribe does.
Yeah, so Tribe Recovery Homes is going to offer various levels of care, starting first with the residential, and that's going to be for men. And then they also are going to offer IOP, intensive outpatient, which is going to have recovery housing attached to it. So depending on where a person is in their pathway to recovery, they may need the residential, or they may be able to go into the IOP. That would all be determined by just calling in, doing an assessment with them. They can do that right over the phone with people. 720-608-7423. And they have an application online, www.triberecoveryhomes.com. But what Tribe is offering is treatment.
Yeah.
And it's different from a sober living. It's that you're really getting treatment. You're being able to take a look at your issues, your behaviors, look at all of the different barriers that you're facing. And so they've got an amazing team of people, peer recovery coaches, counselors, who are all there and equipped to help people get to the next step in their journey.
Yeah, so a big shout out to them. But today we're going to talk with somebody who works with the Nxt Chapter.
Yes.
And also is in his recovery. You got a lot going on right now, because I know he's like, man, life is way different than it was just a few years ago. I'll give you a chance. You introduce him for us.
Yeah. So this is Durrell, and say your last name.
Bumphus.
Bumphus, right.
Bumphus.
Bumphus.
Yeah, you go. Bumphus.
We got to meet recently over at the AIDS Center, which is another great resource hub. And a lot of people are doing a lot of amazing work there. And you are one of those people. But when I got to meet him the other day, he was sitting there doing what people in this community do best, which is providing one-on-one support to somebody, figuring out what they needed. They're working with you guys. They're getting all their resources, getting connected. And so Josie, who we've had on the show and is from Nxt Chapter, founder of Nxt Chapter, said, "Oh, you got to get him on the show." I said, "Okay."
So Durrell is on the hot seat today, and Durrell was like, I like to speak. I'm a speaker, but I ain't speaking. but we put him in a hot seat today, man. But we're just really thankful to have you come in here and take your time to share with everybody your journey to where you are today, and how you ended up working with the Nxt Chapter, and your story here. So Durrell, we thank you. You're from Aurora, Denver. This is home, Colorado.
Yeah, it's my home.
All right, man.
Thanks for having me on.
Oh, man, it's our pleasure. We turn it over to you. Everybody, this is Durrell Bumphus from Denver, Aurora, Colorado. And man, this you. The hot seat, huh?
My favorite opening line is, "What up?"
What up, man? What up, man? What up?
So first and foremost, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thanks. Thank you.
I was like, when she came that day, I'm sitting there talking to a client, and we were doing a lot. And she was talking to Josie, and Josie's like, "Oh yeah, share a story, get him on there." And I'm like, "What, Josie?" I'm like, dang. I'm like, all right, it's cool. Let's do it. But I was approaching, like, coming here. I was like, dang, what am I going to talk about? Like, what is this? Like, now I start doing the investigation the first day. Like, what am I about to do?
What are you stepping into? Right?
Yeah. What she set me
I
up
don't know
for?
nothing about this. And then they say, we're going live. I'm like, This is really real.
This is real.
Yeah.
But a great opportunity to kind of like voice and share
Yeah.
myself. So like I was stating earlier, man, I've been in institutions most of my life. Right now I've been out 2 years, but I've been on parole for 1 year. So half of that I was in that community corrections. And this is the first time in my life I did the right thing.
Good for you.
And
Right thing, like you didn't run, you followed the rule, you did all the things they asked you to, right?
I haven't ran, I haven't made complaints, I don't drop dirty ways, I comply. And then when I go through hard situations, I don't make irrational decisions like I would in the past. And this is the first time being out, I've actually been able to experience life, grieving situations, and experience them without being inside prison or in an institution or being away, and being more present, like, and available for family, and learning how to be out here, and be supported and loved on in a way I never thought was possible. Because in, being incarcerated, we got love for each other, and we bond while we're incarcerated. But we always know there's still a barrier. And especially myself, and I always had like good energy. I always, met good people, but I always knew there's a barrier, it's not the same. So I got conditioned to getting used to, like, I'm dealing with you today. You go your way, I go my way. I'm in my cell, or I'm in my space. And that's what it was. So being home, though, you got to be more present and active in people's lives. That's a little bit different.
Yeah.
So learning that. So I'm like in a whole new realm of learning, growing, and realizing where I really belong. Because I realized while I was in there in that last stint that I really got used to being inside. Because I didn't feel like I belonged out here. And so I created that barrier of fuck it, continue to live this particular life that I learned, was taught, and was given, because it was it was the next best thing before sports. I mean, outside of sports, I wasn't, I was athletic, but I wasn't picked for sports. I knew I wasn't getting no scholarship. I knew I wasn't going to college for it. So the streets and being in the lifestyle was the thing that I knew I was going to be I was accepted for. I had a scholarship too. Right.
You were excelling.
Going into the institutions as a juvenile, once you learn how to navigate that, survive that, you're accepted too. Got a scholarship too. And so I took on that role. And I lived in that mask for a long time. But in that times, I didn't, you don't realize you're living in a mask as a kid, or you just know that this is what you learn, this is what you're taught, this is what you see. Then this is what I'm going to wear, this is what I'm going to carry, and this is what I'm going to do. And then you try to go up the ladder in that field so you can become somebody that you feel like you was great in. That's the first thing that I felt I was great in, till you learn wrong. And that's going through the course.
That's the first time you get introduced to the idea, like somebody says, this is not the way that it's supposed to be done.
Right. Exactly. And it came to me. It really hit me like, damn, what am I doing? And it was, I shout out to my wife. She's one little challenger. She was the first person outside of my mom that asked me a powerful question like, Durrell, is you good? What's wrong? I see all this, but what's going on inside you that you don't see it in yourself? And I'm like, nah, it's just, it's going to be good. I just get through this. It was like, I'm going to make it through prison. I'm going to make it through this. I'm going to make it through time. But I wasn't really addressing what was there may be something wrong with not me as a person, but my thinking, my belief system. But it didn't happen that day, right? I'm like, yeah.
You're right.
I'll get back to you. Oh, that's nice. That was a good question. I'm going to take a look at that later. Hey, can I get some money for some commissary? You going to put some money on the phone? Type stuff, right? Like, because I needed to be present outside, you know, because now I had a desire to be home, a
Mhm.
desire to be outside, because I had got a glimpse in what it meant to be a father, but I didn't know how to father. I seen what it looks like to when people truly love you and they looking at you and looking up to you for lead, guidance, protection, and advice. Scared the mess out of me. You know, it really scared the mess out of me because the simple fact, when you being inside, I was a little Durrell. Being inside, you just navigate. You got your boys, you got that. You talking to each other. They like, yeah, that was good. That was smart, man. You smart. You intellectual. But when you talking to your kids, they looking for not only that, they're not listening to that. They don't really notice that you're smart and intellectual. They know you're their protector, their security, their hero.
Yes. Make them feel safe.
You make them, and they're looking at. I'm like, ooh, this is real close, right? You know, and this is more intimate than I've, you know. And then you got my mom, the happiness she was sharing to see me home, and my little brothers and my siblings and them, and the happiness they were sharing, and it was just like, oh. Then went back to incarceration. So I had that. I was carrying these little memories, right? These precious moments that were in addition to that question, to where, why do I push myself or detach myself from this? These things that really give me a feeling of joy, a feeling of comfort, a feeling of love, but also was the biggest feeling, even in the midst of that, is our fear.
Fear.
Because I don't believe in myself.
Oh, it's a driving force, fear.
Because I don't know how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's not normal to me. To be present in my family, I feel like if I can get some money, or if I can, you know, talk to you on the phone, if there's something harmful happen, I can go do something extreme, like go fight somebody, hurt somebody else over that situation, because you don't do nothing to my family kind of mentality. But to give you this love that you want was scary.
It's vulnerable.
What? You know, I think, you know, and it's just even coming to this show, I was nervous because that's another state of vulnerability of sharing a story. Like, who want to hear me? You know, who wants to?
There's a lot of importance, though. I'll tell you, there's a lot of importance in what you have to share.
No doubt. And that's the truth, you know, because that vulnerability is still, it's scary territory, you know, and especially when you're dealing with like your kids and your family, you're like, damn, I'm being vulnerable, but I don't want to let you down, because the reason why that was in the back of my mind, because I wasn't ready. I wasn't actually ready. I didn't come to the place to where I wanted to accept my roles. I didn't want it to, it was difficult because that was so uncomfortable. I didn't like being in uncomfortable places, to where if a conversation get uncomfortable, I leave. You know, and love was just like, I know I wanted it. No, I gave it back. No, I loved it, but it was just like, damn, what if I let you down? So it was easy being around people that didn't truly love me. Because if anything goes wrong, or if anything was to fail in that relationship,
you walk away.
You'll leave me, I'll leave you.
Yeah.
Right. And so nowadays, when I get close to people and then that happens, it kind of messes me up, because I'm like, see, I should never been vulnerable with you. See, I should never did this.
You're like, you proved it. Yeah.
Proof. And that's that confirmation bias.
Yep.
We look for it. Like, see, I told you didn't really. I told you didn't. I did that, right? And I had to work on that within that, you know, that time that I was back inside prison, and making those changes. And it just, every year, it seemed like I came on to something new. Even today, like I was saying to somebody, I said, man, you know, I learned a lot about myself, but I'm learning a lot more about myself now. Being outside of prison, being outside in the community, being in, you know, going into these spaces and sharing, and, you know, having encounters with people, like coaching others and being present with family, and, you know, trying to learn particularly like my role as in every way. And it's all a process of growing. Like, I know, but I love the space to grow more than I did before. Before, I don't want to figure out. I'm like, I'm just going to figure something else out that I know. And can't nobody say, dummy. Oh, you ain't got it right. Oh, you ain't a man. Oh, you ain't a friend. Oh, you ain't that. Because being accountable for that, it makes it, you know, because you feel like especially when you think you're doing everything right, are you being there 100%? And somebody looks at you like, you got to be. So I get overly critical, and that's a crazy place to be in. But it's necessary because there might be some gems in there for me to be like effective later on. You know, there's always changes we can make. There's always room to grow and be better. So
the last time that you went into prison, describe that person who was going into prison. Who was that person when
before
you
you went in?
Mm-hmm.
It was that individual. It was always good, loving, caring, supportive, protective. But he was still like a afraid, scared young man.
Mm-hmm.
Had no clue what it was to be, you know, a father, husband, son, brother. He just lived on the idea that he can do it. I was accustomed and groomed to be just a part of the lifestyle that, you know, that I took on and felt like it was the best way for me. It was my league.
What kind of lifestyle
The
was
street
that?
league.
Uh-huh.
The SL street
Mhm,
league.
mhm.
You know?
The SL.
You know, the National Street League, you know.
Yep.
So, and that's what I inherited and I took on, because it was like it's easier, and then, you know, it's a bunch of us feeling sorry for ourselves, so we take on what we feel is honorable for ourselves. And when you get from, you know, when you hanging with a particular clique or a particular area, you honor that, you live that. And when they start praising your name and you see in those eyes like, yes, he's the guy, you like, this is what I'm doing.
Gave you
know?
a sense of belonging and purpose in a lot of ways, right? Yeah.
Belonging and purpose, meaning, and responsibility, perceivably at the time. And so that's who I was. In that time, you know, as a kid, I wasn't like that, you know. I just seen, because this is in these change moments, right? If I would have seen these pictures when I was a kid, I just be like, oh, I was a cool little kid, right? And, you know, I always got to look for the cool in them, right? But like, he was the coolest, right? But now I just seen some. So just recently, I buried my my first hero, which is my little brother's and his dad, and my step pops, and I was seeing the pictures of us with him, and just remember that smile that I had, and the innocence, and just the love I used to give. And I'm sitting there with my aunties, and my auntie was like, you was my best baby. You was so good. And I'm like, and I'm listening to him, and I'm taking all this in, and I'm like, damn, man, where did, you know, inner child work? Just like, damn, where did I get lost?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, what is, you know, where did I get stuck and didn't want to, you know, just neglected that child? And how come? But just listening, just seeing those pictures, and just like, dang, man, I still got that in me. It's a gem in me that I connect all the families. I love everybody. I don't treat nobody different. I check on all my family members when I can. My wife be like, you call everybody, and I'm like, I know.
That's good.
Right.
But isn't it nice to know that that's still in you?
Right.
That you can water that and grow it again?
Most definitely. That's the key. That's the gift. When you can, you know, I like that you brought that up, because this morning I was reading something. It said, it was talking about this lady, and she said about the garden. And when she goes out and she looks at her garden, she's like, hey, why is nothing growing? Where is like something germinate popping out the grass, right? Out the soil. And she was like, but knowing really it's something happening
Underneath.
There's already something happening.
That's right.
And so there's always been something happening. I just wanted to suppress. I'm not even letting the little flower pop up.
You were spending you said you spent half your life in jails, institutions. That last time you went in, did you go in thinking this is just how it is? I don't care, or did you go in going, I've had enough?
So there was a little bit. There was a point of, I got this sentence. I got to get it over with. I'm gonna get through this. Boom, let's go. Right.
Because something changed this time.
But in that same, I need to hurry up and get out part, because I don't want to be here. I was like, I know I got to change something about my behaviors, and redefine myself, or get in tune with me. Because there's this saying, like, it's not like I tell people, it's like, it's not that, like, this room is a room, right? There's nothing that needs to be changed about this room. We could just rearrange some things and take some things out that don't belong and make it look like a room you've never seen before. We can make it the most beautiful room ever. It's just taking things out the way that don't belong. And so from that little quote, or that little saying, that little ideology, is that I was like, what do I need to remove? What do I need to take away? Because that's what's going to get in my way. That's what's going to trip me up. That's what's going to keep me coming into this place, and even worse, maybe be dead without giving anything to my community or my kids.
And you can't make a change until you acknowledge that.
Exactly.
Until that was that point where, whether it was sitting in a cell, could have been sitting at the edge of the bed at the house, but until you said, why am I still doing this? How can I put an end to this? What do I need to change? Until you finally said that, it didn't matter. Your mom could have said it, your auntie, your best friend, everybody, your homies, everybody can be like, hey, you could do so much better. It don't matter until you say it.
It was me. It's called that intrinsic motivation. And just reading certain things, it was crazy, because I believe in, like, stuff just falls out, and if you read something at that moment, it's meant for you.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I believe
I had this one day, it said, don't give up. And minutes before that, I'm like, man, F this, let's go. Give me the sentence. I'm not tripping. Let's go. I don't care what y'all think. This ain't what I know the truth, and I'm going to, but whatever, y'all want to give me time, let's go. That giving up, and it was don't give up. Then I see the lady that was like working on my case say, don't give up. I'm like,
there's something to this.
Like, but consciously, I wasn't thinking about giving up, but there must have been behaviors and actions that I just give in, throw myself away. And it was time to just, and that's when the work continued. So as I was going through my bid, I thought it was more like, okay, just be positive, do the right thing, take these classes, get these days off, and get out. And I got a job in the gym. And then one day, a dude was telling me, he said, hey, you can go back to TC since you've been in. And I said, I can. I said, but I got a brand new sentence, bro. He was like, nah, you can. You can go as a mentor. There's some dudes over there doing that. I'm like, oh, yeah. I was like, all right. So I applied. I went to go see the therapist there, and she was like, all right, I'll see you in a couple of days. A couple of days was meaning she was moving me over in a couple of days, and I ended up moving to the TC mentor pod. And I thought my changes that I had made for those aha moments of not giving up, feeling positive, feeling ready, got a little bit of a story to share and inspire somebody else on, just go do the right thing, bro. And, tell people my little experience on parole and how it ain't as hectic as we perceive, and you could do it, they ain't really tripping, because I wasn't doing 100% right. So I know if you do it 100% right, you're going to get better results.
Yeah.
So just don't trip, don't trip, just go do it. And then I went in there, and I ended up being with a bunch of men like John Doubleday, like Corey Wooders, and Lonnie Gregos, and just different people all in one pod, just going like, and it was questions. And we had this therapist, Miss Ybarra, and she used to get on me, and I was like, this lady is frustrating, because she's asking me these questions, and I give you an answer, and you saying it ain't the answer. How you gonna tell me about me? But it made me go dig. And those were the moments that kept like making the things we were doing to grow and learn were about, it was like a shovel, just dig.
Just keep digging,
because you got to dig for yourself. And it wasn't them telling me what I needed to do. Nobody was telling me nothing. They was asking me something, and it was questions. That was like, what? I never. And then when you hit the question, I'm like, dang, I never thought of. When you ask me the question, makes me think, because now I have to go inside and really look at that. And that's what the journey, the journey continued, and I continued to grow. And then it became actions of doing programs and implementing programs.
Tell me some of these programs.
So I did the TC Therapeutic Community Program, and that's when the mentorship and the digging was happening. Then I moved to Sterling, and I helped their mentor program. Then COVID happened, and then they put us inside this unit called it was the Veterans Program, Veterans Unit. And
at Sterling. Shout out to the men at Sterling too.
Yeah,
send them some love.
Yeah, most definitely. And so when I'm in, it was a quarantine. And so we in there, we start writing programs and curriculum, like, we're going to make this into, we're going to bring veterans and non-veterans in. I was like, all right, let's do it. And so we started building that. And then ultimately that spread out until we made another unit called Honor House. And it was 100 residents in 2 buildings.
Mm.
We got 50 in each, and it was like your own living apartment.
Mhm.
And that's when I became a peer coach too.
Oh, so you were able to get your peer certification while you were in? Yes.
I got my peer
Mhm.
certification while I was in.
Mhm.
Also designed.
That's so awesome. They have these
Mhm.
programs
It
there
is.
to give you that bit of fulfillment, to be like, look, I'm making moves. And when you do something and somebody says, you know, there's a payoff for that, it always helps you to go, okay, now I see how success pays off.
Yeah,
How my hard work pays off.
most definitely, because after one, like writing the programs and being a part of the programs and getting this peer training showed me that I had more to me, and this service work was a, a part of me that I would enjoy. And so just doing that in itself was like, oh man, this is learning. After doing the digging, now I'm shining again. Now the word that lady Miss Shabar kept saying, self-efficacy, and I'm like, now I know what that means, right? I know what it looks like. It's an action.
Mhm.
It's actually you showing up. It's you being there, confidently being there, expressing yourself. And I'm like, oh, I got it. Right now, I know I can sit in the room, and even though I may be nervous as heck, I can still sit there and articulate who I am, my story, my purpose, and my intention of being in there. Because now, because I did the digging, I did the work to even build my self-efficacy. And so that peer coach training, we didn't know what it was about or anything. We just went to it and we just was like, all right. And then we learned a lot more.
Mhm.
And I was blessed with the opportunity in 23, December 23, with Authentic.
Oh,
And I
yes.
worked with the Authentic for a year, and now I'm with the Nxt Chapter. And so I was also in there with Kelly. He was in the TC, and just
Bahana?
seeing,
All right.
Kelly
seeing-
and Bree.
yeah,
It's
just seeing,
authentic. Yeah.
just seeing people that I was just in there with, all of them, from the Corys to the Lonnies to the John Doubledays to the Kelly Mahanas, just different people already paving the way. We was all in there learning about ourselves in different ways.
Mhm.
And not everybody was doing it the right way.
Mhm.
Like I was doing programs and not getting no write-ups and being a part of no negative life on this last bid, but they were still learning no matter what path they was taking. I don't care if he was in the room fighting every day, he was still learning.
Mhm.
The dude, they be like, oh, he was negative, he was bad, he wasn't that good, he was this, he was doing dope, he was doing that. He was still learning.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
His discovery and his digging may have been different.
That's
It may not have been my walk because I wasn't doing anything wrong
Mhm.
at that particular time because I knew what I had to do to get out. But he was digging
Mhm.
because there was questions being asked to him, and there was some discovery happening for that particular person at a time where he might have been listening when you thought he wasn't. Because there was times when I sit in those TC groups and I'm listening. There was times when Corey, Lonnie, and them used to do groups, and I'm the one coach. I mean, I'm on one mentor sitting there, and they're asking these dudes questions, and they're hitting me, and I'm like, fuck. I'm like, oh man, this is hitting me more than it's probably hitting them, right?
Mhm.
Digging. So I can never say that because a dude wasn't living the path I was living while incarceration, that he wasn't going to be a great person out here for others,
Or that he was doing it wrong.
because he
Right.
was getting that experience.
Mhm.
His lived experience is potent, and it's going to be a gift for somebody else because he has what we're doing now, a story.
Mhm.
And so getting out, seeing these men on this path and getting that first opportunity to, come out there and lead with peer coaching and find out what it really meant to, be in society, doing the right thing, and, being with a good group of individuals doing it, actively doing it and meaning it. Because I also worked at the Dream Center for a while when I was in the halfway house.
Mhm.
So I seen a lot of different approaches to meeting the unhoused and, being in social spaces with people that never had a background like myself or anybody else, and, them being interested in us, in our stories, and not judging us, because that's what we think about.
Yep.
And
Mhm.
that's why another reason why I appreciate this opportunity, because I can show men that's been inside or that's still inside or out here and don't feel like our stories matter. It does, because nobody's really judging us as much as we think.
Mhm.
It's really us.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's just one more fear. It's a fear of people, of judgment. I mean, but I think I'm really glad you said it, because I think the way that the culture is today is that though people with lived experience are contributing so much to
Right.
this culture and to helping people get to the other side, that, yeah, it's in high demand, wanting to hear about it.
And it's powerful too. It's a
Mhm.
powerful movement for us to all be able to bring our unique stories
Yes.
and bring our unique selves to the forefront to be able to inspire the next generation and the next body of people that still are entrapped in that belief that nobody cares or they don't belong, and just give them space. I was talking about that just earlier. We were at Urban Peak,
Mhm.
doing it like a Juneteenth for the young adults they had,
Mhm.
and it was fun. But I was like, give people space. I said, whatever it is, just give them space to do them. Give them space so they can figure it out. Because if I'm overseeing you, and I've like heard over and over again people that do not like micromanaging, and I'm like, I don't think I like that neither. Or overmanage is like give people space, no matter what that is. Like it's like a baby when you see them running around and you like overly, they be like kind of like, but you let them give them space, they do it, they got it, and that's when people start seeing that they got it. They start believing their own decision making, and that's what it took for me. People giving me a little bit of space enough space to be able to figure out for myself and see that I had it, or to leave me in a space and be like, no, here goes everything, and you just do it. And I'm like, oh shoot, this is different, right? But we do, and that's what I encourage now, in living and doing what I'm doing and being excited about what I'm doing.
So during that last stint in Sterling, you made a conscious effort that you were going to change things. And then you went into all these programs to learn all these different skills that can help other people with reintegration into society, with addiction, with their mental health struggles. When you were wrapping up those programs in Sterling, and it's time for you to get out, and you see the light at the end of the tunnel, and this time you're going to do things different. Did you already have that game plan? I'm going to step out of here. When I get into the halfway house, I'm going to work in these programs.
Exactly, 100%. So before I left Sterling, I left Sterling in January of 2023, and I went to this program called The Beacon. It was at Skyline, and I was like, it was all about like vocational training, peer coaching, and stuff like that. And when I got there, it was like a decompression of being in prison, and it was like another reality of moving forward. And so the progression in that was like, okay, now I had a space to plan, to grow, because it was a different environment. I was like, the first place I've ever been in DOC where they didn't strip search you, they didn't come in and bother you as much. It was okay. It was like different food, different environment, just a whole different space. Is when I was like, okay, I'm gonna go out there, peer coach. I'm gonna go get this job. I got these connections. I got this support. I got these people in my network. Then when I got home, it didn't go exactly as planned. So that confirmation almost hit again, right? And I had a couple of hiccups, not that I did anything wrong, where it was like, oh, well, we think we messed up your paper. You might have to go back.
Yeah, just things to get you sweating.
Just enough anxiety.
Like, just to go,
to get you going.
This ain't over.
I'm like, what I do today? And it was nothing, but it was another hill to get over, another hump. And just the if I didn't do the conditioning that I did in that last bit of prison and that last stint, I would have ran that day.
You took so much time while you were in Sterling to say, you know what? I'm going to use this time to become the best version that I can while I'm in here, so that when I step out, I don't step back in.
Right, exactly. And that's exactly what it was. It was conditioning. I said, bro, as we hit this yard and we hit these weights, as we do these workouts, as we read these books, as I do all these things.
Amen.
And I'm like, every time I say no to the opportunities that show up that can change my financial situation or help me address a situation that I dislike or disagree with, like go engage in fights or whatever, is preparing me for bigger situations when we get home. Because if I do all that, then I'm okaying it when I get home. Oh, I'm broke. Let's go do this. Right. I'm trying to remove that to where the likelihood of that is like, nah, bro, fighting, nah, because in society now, I got access to all types of stuff. Now I can do it even harder and get you out the way. That's not right. So I don't want those outcomes. Those are outcomes I don't want. What I want is to be here. What I want is to be home. What I want is family. What I want is a whole different legacy. And so
it goes back to that little kid, man. It goes back. Was it
Durrell.
Auntie who said, you was my best?
yeah,
It goes back to that. Like
Yeah.
that person was inside you, just like just freeing itself during that last stint going
and he
up.
was finally getting love.
Uh-huh.
I was finally giving him attention as I do now.
Uh-huh.
And just seeing those pictures and just being like like my grandma, I see every morning, right? And it's like it don't matter if I just left the room like 5 minutes. I come back in like it was like I've been gone for like 5 years. I'd be like, and that's what I yearned for.
Mhm.
And so to remove myself or displace myself because of moments that do fade, because there's been things I've been so mad about or so angered about, or there's been times I've been without money, been so broke that I made crazy choices that today don't even matter.
Mhm.
So I don't base my situations or my actions off of what I don't have or what I feel at that time sometimes, because I'll make it through it. It's just, and
It's
that
a
was that
temporary
condition.
feeling, right?
Right,
You
it
don't
is.
make a permanent decision based on a temporary feeling.
For real,
Mhm.
most definitely. Because we have,
Mhm.
almost cost us the rest of our lives in prison.
Mhm.
Sometimes even almost cost us our whole entire life where we almost lost it, and so now I look at it like that was all necessary. Everything. And then there wasn't, and now
Isn't
this
that
one,
crazy when you look back and you go, man, even all the bad stuff
Mhm.
was necessary
It was
to
necessary.
get me where I am now.
Yeah, for sure.
Most
Definitely. Because it was. And just looking back, there was days I didn't even know what any of this how this was going to apply out here. Right. You have a glimpse like, oh, I might be able to speak. I might be able to go do this job, or I might be able to do this. But it's like, because there was still a faulty belief in ourselves, we didn't really think we could. And, my first couple months of being out of prison, I was like, dang, I really ain't the man. But I went through something similar in Sterling, moving from Fremont to Sterling, when they said, oh, you can't be a mentor. You can't come do that. Right. You really can't be a mentor because you have to do the program over. And I'm like, what?
Mhm.
And I go try to implement other programs with other program heads, and they're like, nah, we got it. Just you can attend, just get on the roster and show up.
Mhm.
So know that faulty belief, like, man, but my pals and my social group was embracing me, give me carriage packages and stuff like that. And it was, care packages and stuff like that. And it was just, but I still stuck with it. I still stuck with doing right. And it took time, even in Sterling. So I remembered that my first couple of months of being out, like, you've been through this before. So now I'm more aware of what I've already done and my abilities, my capabilities of pressing through the hard times, even though there may be people verbally or attacking me or, using words that influence that belief system. That doesn't just remove because I'm doing better and I am a better person. I have to talk to that little me and say, it's going to be good, man. You good.
Triggers that trauma inside you, though, where it's like,
yeah.
Y'all know who I am.
Yeah, right.
Or when a bill hits
I don't
you up and say,
want
hey,
that person.
you
That's
get a
not who
bill
I'm.
in the mail and say, pay me now. You be like, oh, I pay you, but hey, so can we make arrangements, please? Can we just talk and make arrangements? I can't do it today. And that kind of stuff, like, because that's the one thing for us, a lot of men and women that go into incarceration, in the midst of their addictions too, they make rational decisions for that money because they want to fulfill a need. May it be for a bill, may it be for a family, may it be for addiction. And so we just okay it because we got to do something right now about what I feel for that exact moment. And I had to condition myself to go through the hard parts and the hard moments for life happening out here and going through uncertain times and going through grieving times and just different levels of life that I didn't know exactly what it was going to be like, but I knew that I was going to experience something. And in those experiences, I wasn't going to make the same decisions and choices that I made when I was younger and before I went to prison.
Mhm.
And it's paying off. And even though, and I'm not stating at all that life is the best ever, but it is.
I get that. I get
It
that.
is.
Right. You know,
Mhm.
I'm not void of, losing a family member. I'm not void of
Mhm.
not, having the times of, financial strain. I'm not void of going through meeting somebody on the streets that say F you and F that. I'm not
Mhm.
void of not having an emotion of looking at somebody like, you better not do nothing to me, hit me, I'm not prone to that. I just make a different move, a
Mhm.
different decision.
Mhm.
I make a better choice, no matter how I feel. I think about it and I go talk to myself about it if I'm feeling angered and just losing my step possum a couple weeks ago was rough.
Yeah, I'm sorry
You
to hear
know,
that.
going to a funeral was different, and I'm like,
Mhm.
whoa, I ain't, and just seeing that, just being just like, dang, we got
My
so much to live
condolences.
for. I
Mhm.
can't base all my emotions and all my eggs on what is temporary.
Mhm.
And even my worst situation, the people that I've been the angriest with, man, I still got love because that's what's gonna reside. And I don't, and I won't, like bring people down just because I feel like you brought me down, or I feel, or
I don't need to give it back to you.
I only want to see my side of something. Nah, man, it's all good. Correct the moment and just continue to go. And that's what it is, really,
Tell me a little bit about what you're doing now at the Next Chapter, my man.
So
About
at the
this
next
work.
chapter,
Yep.
so at the next chapter, I'm the she made me the lead peer recovery coach.
Mhm.
Shout out to
Mhm.
Josie.
Now hold on.
Yes.
Before I even let you continue, I'm gonna cut you off. What's it like to tell yourself I'm the lead peer recovery coach?
Josie.
Josie's awesome.
Josie's
Josie's
I was
awesome.
like Josie. So
Continue now. I'm sorry.
just being with the next chapter, man, is just it's a whole different space. It's a lot of reentry, dealing with the unhoused, having access to more like a lot of resources, providing like packbacks, hygiene, and just doing a lot of the outreach stuff that I've been doing, but been able to do it in a different capacity by having like giving them access to things that they needed right then and there at the moment, and then attaching them to like other places if they do choose to housing. Currently, I have a couple clients that because of the summer, they just don't want it yet, but it's all good.
Mhm.
And so and just building with Josie and them and just being a part of her team is a good experience for me. It's challenge. It's a positive challenge to be able to stretch myself and be um, more intentional and
Mhm.
direct and just do it. It's just another level of
Yeah.
this, and it's like, man, it's different. It's different, and I love it.
Mhm.
And it's just a whole space that I've been knowing Josie since I was a juvenile.
Mhm.
I met her because she used to give me 3 ways when I was in Lookout Mountain. No, it was in the Gilliam first, and I'm like, hey, will you give me a call again? She's like, boy. And then that's how we met. And then years until just recently, I seen her doing job fairs. I'm like, dang, who's doing these job fairs? And I'm like, oh, you Josie? And I'm like, Josie? I'm like, you the Josie? She was like, you that Durrell, that boy. I'm like, yeah, I'm that Durrell. And that's and so it's like family being over
That's
there.
awesome.
And what we do over there is very impactful, it's different. And it's just, man, making sure we meet the community where they're at and try to bring about so many resources and connecting, collaborating is
Mhm.
like a big thing that Josie's loves and enjoys. So man, and just making connections as best as possible. So yeah,
That's awesome, man.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
I
you
just
guys
love
do
it. I
great
love
work.
this, man. I love this service work. It's different.
Uh-huh,
And it's like enjoyable. And so we like a couple weeks ago we went to a shelter and I think I tripped. I'm not really tripped the ladies out, but I was just talking to people like, hey, what's up, man? And they're like, did you know? I'm like, nah, just this is how I do it. I just walk, talk to people, and it really ain't Josie be like, don't be, you gotta meet people, and Durrell, she's like more of like the mama bear.
Mhm.
And I'm like, Josie, I'll be back. She be like, you going into a crowd of people. And I'm like, don't trip, I got it, it's all good. She was like, he just goes to these crowds. And I'm like, it's good, don't trip, right?
Yeah.
Because that's just my spirit, that I learned to embrace and love. And that's what
I
we
hope
do.
Auntie sees this because she's gonna
Me
go,
too.
that's my good one.
Yeah.
That's my go. She gonna be like, yeah, he's still there.
I know my mama too. She be sitting there like, She just looks at me and she's like, for real. And I see the joy in her heart and her eyes. My kids, you know, I told somebody, I said, you know, these shows and these radio stations and this broadcasting and stuff I'm doing, I'm like, it's content for later. I'm like, the people, I want the people to see and hear my story, but really I want my kids, my grandkids to be like, dang, my dad or my grandpa was on something. And then if they ain't listening now, because sometimes they really don't, and it's all good, you know, it's all good because I remember, right? And I meet them where they're at and I just love on them.
That's
like,
right.
I know it's going to get to you. And just I just make sure I continue to do it because that's what matters. It don't matter. What I did before is what I did. It's done. What I'm doing today is what matters. And what I leave behind from now to the moments that I'm gone is what's going to always be what people remember. I'm like, he made a change. Resiliency. Is that what they call it?
Yep. Resiliency. That's right. Yep. Yeah.
So I know that men are going to be hearing this in Sterling Correctional Facility. What would you want to say to them?
Shouts out to all of the boys like that. So there's a lot of good fellas in there, man, and making some huge changes. Some of them can't at this moment make it home, and but I want to encourage them to keep making an impact, keep touching lives, keep watering the garden. Don't let one life come in before you or in front of you without speaking something of life in them, to make them think. Ask them positive questions, redirect their focus, and just encourage them to do it right. And I got a cliche saying. I said, one guy said, Durrell, why you do this? I said, I do it right from the morning to the night. I said, I ain't got to worry. He said, that was good. And that's what I encourage, man, because my cousin one day on the phone was like, Durrell, what is you saying to these dudes? Why? Because it was part of that past, Durrell. And he was like, man, look what they doing. And I seen the effect of that. And I hadn't directly spoken with them. I never even sat down with those young men that were creating those acts, but they were basically saying my name on behalf of what they were doing. Like, so I was like, what do I do now? And so speaking to lives differently, they may not listen to it now, but they may use it and it may touch on a couple others. And so that's what I encourage the men that are still in there. And just know that also while y'all in there, there's many of us like me making a way for you as well. So that your name and your words don't go in vain.
Yeah.
Thank you. Durrell, for a man that came in and was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. You did it fantastically. And I can't tell you enough. Thank you for coming in here and sharing. And I wish we had more time because I know you got a lot more that I could ask you a lot more about your life. And I know that it would be a lot of insight for people. But with the time that we had, I want to thank you. And thank you for your work at the Nxt Chapter. And our next chapter is that I know I will see you again and that we will be doing something like this again in the future for an update on the work that you're doing in this community right here. So thank you. Your your Instagram is CreateTheWin. Yeah. All right. Folks can find you at CreateTheWin. All right. So do that. All right. Reach out to them. The Nxt Chapter, what is the phone number or website for the Nxt Chapter?
The nxtchapter.org.
I think that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta look it up.
I believe
NXT, and it's nxtchapter.org.
Yep.
All right. Check them out. Great organization. My name is Slim with Nani Al Jaleel. Shout out to Tribe Recovery Homes. That's triberecoveryhomes.com. If you want to learn about what they do, if you're trying to find some resources, please reach out to them. They'll be happy to help you, and as will the Nxt Chapter. And I want to thank Josie for recommending you to come on over here.
Yep.
All right, Josie.
Durrell Bumphus has been our guest. He is from right here, Denver, Aurora, Colorado. And I thank you, man. I thank you for coming in. This is Sharing Our Stories. If you want to be a guest, please leave us a message on our Facebook page. That's facebook.com/SOS Sharing Our Stories. And we look forward to having you come on in here as a guest. We'll see you again right here on Sharing Our Stories. Thank you.
Thank you.